Hey everyone, this is Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty, and today we have Shane Moore on the podcast, on the video. He is founder of VanHeros. This was formed in 2018, and today we're going to discover the story of VanHeros, what's it about, what's Shane's story, and hopefully you can all learn something from his story. So welcome to the Shane. Welcome to the Shane. Welcome to the show, Shane.
Thanks, Stephen. A bit of a mouthful there. Yeah, thanks, man. Big fan of the show and really pleased to be on here to share the story.
No, I appreciate that, dude. So, VanHeros, what's it all about?
So, in a nutshell, we're building a platform that connects consumers and businesses with on-demand man and van services. That's it in a nutshell. So, what we've done is we've started off building an app. We're currently working on the website to allow people to book, and then essentially we've got a network of drivers, all local drivers. So essentially it's a carbon copy of Uber but for vans. That's pretty much how we roll, right? So but no, it's really cool. We're working with some really nice businesses to save them money on their delivery costs, and at the same time offering a better customer experience for them, that they can have items delivered to them as and when needed. So yeah, it's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah. How did it come about? Were you sat in an Uber and trying to move house and you thought, oh, there must be a better way? Or what else were you doing to bring VanHeros to life?
So for me, what it was my wife, Carly, our daughter was eight months old at the time. And she decided she wanted a Wendy house for Darcy, and I was like, okay, cool, no worries. I'm now an adult. We have to sell the hot tub and make room for a Wendy house, but that's fine. That's cool.
It's not bitter at all, right?
Not in the slightest, obviously. But no, you know what? That was the light bulb moment, because what happened was she found this really cool Wendy house. I said to her, oh, fantastic, can I see photos? And I said, that looks pretty big. She was like, yeah, I don't know how big it is. So I looked at the listing on eBay, and it was 8 foot by 10 foot, 2 stories high. Nice.
Serious Wendy house then.
Yeah, now you see why I had to sell the hot tub to get it in.
Yeah.
But so she's like, oh, I've told the guy we're going to pick it up on Saturday, and this was on the Thursday. So I rang around some friends, and I'm like, a couple of guys with vans, can you help? And they're like, yeah, dude, it's not going to fit in our vans. And I'm like, okay, where do we go? So I found out that the van size I needed was a Luton van, biggest one going. Fine, no worries, I can sort that out. So I rang around probably 6 or 7 different people, and all of them said the same thing. Look, I can do it, but I can't do it till Monday, or I can't do it till Wednesday, or I can do it today, but I can't do it. And it was just a bit of a nightmare. So I ended up then thinking, okay, well, I'll rent a van. That's fine. Not everybody's comfortable renting a van, but for me, that was fine. So I went and filled out all the paperwork. Took me, probably half an hour to get all the paperwork done, put down a deposit, then had to go and drive to pick this thing up myself, do all the work, then fill back, take everything out, fill the truck back up with fuel. It was just a nightmare. There was nothing easy about it. And that was the light bulb moment for me, because the whole time I'm thinking, there has to be somebody out there who can do this right now, who would happily take, 100, 120 pounds to do this for me. And I've just spent 170 pounds doing it myself, and it's been a nightmare. And so I started looking around, and I couldn't find anything that really would work for me in the way I wanted it to. And that's where the idea came from.
Amazing. And you got the Wendy house.
Well, I'm gonna even though my daughter's she's gonna be 2 next month, she's gonna be moving out there and paying rent on it, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta fund the business. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's quite an organic, lovely story. Which is quite rare nowadays, often when people start businesses, which is lovely. When VanHeros started being born, what were your first obstacles that you came up against?
So the 2 big obstacles for me was, one, I have no technology skills at all.
Fairly big one then.
Fairly big one.
Yeah.
My background is as I played professional ice hockey for a number of years.
Amazing.
And then, yeah, on the side of that, I kind of worked in operations and business stuff, but I had no technical skills, and I had nowhere near enough money to kind of build what I wanted to build. I got some quotes, and the quotes were coming in at kind of 30 grand plus for an MVP.
Yeah.
And yeah, big obstacles, that I had to overcome.
So when you realized that you didn't have the tech knowledge, you didn't have the money, how did you make it so that VanHeros was still exciting enough for you to carry on with? Because a lot of people will probably get to that stage and just go, I'll put it on the back burner. Maybe that's something I can do in a couple of years when I save up or, remortgage my house or whatever.
So for me, I kept thinking about it. I couldn't get the idea out of my head. And I did more and more research on it, and I found companies that were doing similar things over in the US. I started doing my research on them, and they're very successful companies now. And every night it was going through my head. And in the end, I was like, right, I might not have the technical skills, I might not have the money, but I'm going to find a way to do this. So what I did was I just went and registered the company, right? I had no idea what I was going to do with it at that time, but I was like, if I register the company, I've stuck a stake in the ground, and I'm going to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
So that was my way of doing it,
And when you stuck that stake in the ground, what did your partner think? What did your wife think?
Do you know what? She was really supportive, actually. She was really supportive.
That sounds so surprised.
Well, it's hard work, right? Because full-time job, trying to work out what to do, mortgages to pay, bills to pay. She was still on maternity leave at the time, so there's lots of things going on, and she's like, I know you'll find a way to do it, but just be careful.
Yeah, newborn, house, perfect time to start a new business and put everything on the line.
Exactly.
How was it? How quickly did you then start forming your team, start putting things into build? And I know you launched back in August in Swindon, where you're from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took a while, but it was worth it to find the right people. So for me, as I said, with no money and no skill set to kind of build the initial idea, the technology stack that I needed, my first port of call was to try and find the right skills around that. I found a fantastic guy who I was working with at the time, and kind of told him about my idea and what I was doing. And he's a graphic designer, and a fantastic marketer as well. And I kind of, was just talking to him about it one day on lunch, and he's like, I want to get involved. Like, how do I get involved? So he was the first person who came on board. We started designing the app, what we thought it should look like, what needs to go on, etc. Before we had any technical skills on board. I then had a bit of a fun ride for a while, where I had a young guy join the company, and I thought he was my golden ticket. I'm like, this guy's built 25 apps. This is brilliant. Unfortunately, it was too much of a commitment for him, and he pulled out quite early. And at that point, I felt like the rug had been pulled completely under me. And I'm back to square one. What do I do now? What are we going to do? How are we going to get this thing built? My co-founder Hamlin, he was like, look, don't worry about it. Like, we'll find someone else. It's fine. It's no big deal. So he was fantastic from that early stage. And at that point, what I did was I just put some stuff out on social, just saying, can anyone do some back end coding? Anyone that I know, can they do some back end coding? Let's start getting the database and stuff done. Are they familiar with AWS? That was kind of my plan. Turns out a guy who I went to primary school with and secondary school, he's like, hey, I can help. So met up with him, brought him on board. Fantastic. So he's really experienced. He's done all the back end stuff for me, but for the company, should I say? And yeah, he's been brilliant. And then off the back of that, we found another co-founder who's quite experienced. He's built some of the TUI holiday apps. And again, he's a local guy. So we ended up with 4 of us. So two developers, branding and marketing and operations and business, and that was our founding team. And it's been fantastic to have that support network around me as well. Because it can be quite a lonely ride trying to build a business. So having guys kind of next to you going through it with you as well, who share the same passion, is it's fantastic. And we'll all share in the success.
Yeah, exactly. That's an interesting one, because there's been a few topics on the podcast so far about having, outsourced teams where you meet on Skype once a month or once a week. What's the benefit for you that they are local, that the fact that you went to primary school with them, but they don't sound like they weren't like your best mate either. So,
no.
You didn't have that emotional connection with them.
Yeah, we weren't best mates or anything, but there was, prior connection with a couple of them. And but now, those guys are like family to me. The journey you go through building your businesses is, it's huge. But I can see the benefit of having off-site teams working for you, and if you do that, you can hold on to more of your business, etc. But obviously it costs you more as well. For me, the benefit for me having guys who are local is just the communication, I feel, is better. Having Skype, and we use technologies as well. We use Hangouts, we use Skype, we use like Clubhouse to track all our development. We use all those tools, and if the guys are off site, that's fine. But we meet up once a week, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We always get more value out of our face-to-face conversations, and then we can go and stick the headphones back on and crack on.
That's it. And did you enter into the NatWest Building Society, or did you win it? How did that work? How did that come about?
It wasn't NatWest, it was Nationwide, actually.
Nationwide. Oh no, wrong plug.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It was an interesting one. So
I didn't even know Nationwide did one. I knew NatWest do.
Well, here's the thing, right? So NatWest do it, Barclays do it. There's a few others. Nationwide don't actually officially do one.
Sneaky.
Yeah, what they were doing was they have a team called the Innovation Team based here in Swindon, and I just so happened to see an advert they put in the local paper saying they were looking for local people with an idea that they could help take that idea into a business. It just piqued my interest. I didn't really know what it was about. I had no idea what I was entering into or anything, but I thought, well, I'll go along and meet these guys, see what it's about. And it turned out to be quite cool. So recently in Swindon, they've taken some of the old buildings where they used to build all the trains, and they've converted them into like cohabiting workspaces and offices.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's quite. If anyone's familiar with like the engine shed in Bristol, it's a similar sort of concept. It's not quite as evolved or mature, but they're trying to do the same thing. And so Nationwide basically paid for my offices in there for a year, and anything that I needed apart from actual physical money, they would give to me essentially. So I could go to them and say, look, I want to do some contracts for the founding team, but legally, like, to get them legally binding and all the rest of it, they want £600, and they'll just go, do you know what? We'll get you 6 hours with this legal team, and they'll just check it over with you and make sure everything's good. And so it's more about the connections that they can give. So yeah, it was really, really good, and it's fantastic as well to have like a big brand like Nationwide, or for other people, and if they get into the NatWest accelerators or the Barclays Eagle Labs, anything like that, it's great to have that behind you, because it shows that you've got a bit of clout to you as well.
Yeah, someone else believes in you.
Exactly.
Yeah. What difference did you find when you started working in the office as opposed to working from home, meeting up with your team on a semi-regular basis?
So for us, it was just a place to collaborate and really get into the zone, like a focus area. We're probably quite unique in terms of a lot of founders at the moment, because we're very much still in side hustle mode. Okay. So all four of us still have full-time jobs, and have done throughout the whole process. So at first, when we first started having like conversations and building this company, we would meet on a Tuesday night at my house with my young baby running around and my dog going crazy in the background. And, you know, like you got stuff done, but it was kind of hard to concentrate. So then when we were able to get that office, it was a real place of focus, and also, again, gave us some credibility as to these guys are a serious setup. So yeah, I think that was the big thing. It was an area to focus and a place to call home for us.
Yeah, for sure. When you launched back last year in August, how did that feel? How did it feel pressing like live or go launch? Or I'm hoping you had like this huge red button that you all pressed at the same time and everything magically happened.
It felt like that, but it wasn't like that. But what I did do was I sank some whiskey and just over the moon about it, because we overcame so many hurdles along the way. You know, like it's a really tough thing trying to launch a business, especially when you're doing it as a side hustle. It's really, really difficult. And so everything from, as I say, when I first started, and no technical experience, no design experience, anything like that. So to get to the stage where we built this service, this product on less than £3,000 was like, wow. Yeah, it was nuts. Like, it was really, really cool. And pressing go live, you know, getting it live into the app stores and that, it was really cool. But then you also have the dip then where it's like, oh, well, now people have to find us. We have to push traffic through, right? You know, like, so that was almost like climbing up the hill just to find the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
You know? So we're now on that mountain, you know, and we're still, again, we're very early in that. So, you know, although some whiskey was sank at the time, you know, there's such a long way still to go, because we've now kind of we've put our foot into the water, and we're getting traction in Swindon. We're now looking to move into Bristol, Cardiff, and Oxford over the next kind of 6 to 8 months. Then we've got to get the investment through the door, and then it'll be a nationwide thing. That's the plan. But there's so many things that we still have to do that, you know, we can't take our foot off the accelerator just yet.
Yeah. How are the customers finding the experience then?
Really good. What's been fantastic for us is the amount that we've learned actually in this early 6 month stage has just been crazy. So everything that we thought would be like good ended up being a dog, and everything that we thought would struggle ended up being like a big part of what we're doing. And so, yeah, it's interesting. You learn so much, and you just have to listen really at that early stage, really listen and understand what people want, and almost forget about what you think is the right thing. You know, so we had a couple of situations where we've learned a load. So one piece was where we said, right, okay, yeah, we're going to launch, and we're going to say that, you know, we're on demand. People can book, you know, in the space of an hour, because we're going to attract loads and loads of people, and that means loads of drivers will come in, and we can offer this fantastic service. And literally like a week after launching, somebody booked a job for like 2 hours time, and we were like, yeah, now we're in a bit of trouble, because nobody's picked it up. So we a couple of the founders, me and Hamlin, actually jumped in went and rented a van, jumped in it, went and did the job for this person, and just talking to them, we just learned so much, you know, like, you know, oh, this worked really well, but actually I wasn't too sure what to do here. And, you know, when I booked the job, I expected just an email confirmation to say, you know, what happens next. And we were like, we didn't even think about that. Like, you know, it seems so obvious to people, you know, whenever you pay for something, you get an email that says, you know, confirmation, etc. And we didn't have that in place, because, you know, we had this mindset of, you know, once they've paid, it goes over to the drivers. The drivers kind of deal with everything. Yeah. You know, so we had to change our mindset quite a bit to kind of battle that. And the other kind of two things that we learned quite quickly was that one was people were using us for retail purposes, and we thought originally that, you know, people would be using us to pick up things like, I don't know, sofa they bought on
Wendy houses.
Yeah, Wendy House, right? Wendy House that they bought. But we found that people were using us for retail, which was really, really interesting. And so now we're looking to get more partnerships in with those kind of B2B companies, to really enhance what they can do. And the second piece that we learned was we were offering waste disposal, and we could do it, but actually to stay on top of all the licenses that the drivers need is, it's a bit of a minefield. So we've dropped that now, and we're putting in a piece to offer man and van by the hour, because what we found was actually a lot of people were saying, what do I do if I need to book a whole van? Like, well, we didn't even think about that. We've just got, you can list out your items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put a wardrobe in there, put a sofa in there, whatever you need to do. But sometimes people just want to go, hey, can I just have a van for an hour? With that. And we didn't even think about that. So, so we're now making those changes and removing waste disposal and putting that piece in, which would be huge for us, I think.
Definitely. How did you go about vetting the van drivers? Because the first thing I think of when I think of a van in the man in the van, man with a van. God, my tongue is not twisting today. Is the standard. It's going to be a beat up old van. He's not really going to care, or she. Let's not discriminate. So how do you go about vetting drivers?
So yeah, great question, and that's one of the big things that we're trying to build about our company, right? So we the big selling point for us is we're not just your traditional white van man. We care. We want to treat you like family. We're essentially your friend with a van. That's the view we're trying to build. So in terms of vetting, what we do is we actually, when people sign up as a driver, we ask for various different documents to kind of prove that they have their goods in transit insurance, and that they have like MOT on their vehicle, and it's taxed, etc. So that we know that the people we're sending are of a high quality. And on top of that, what we do is we maintain certain values. So within their terms and conditions that they sign up to is the fact that there's a 3 strike and you're out policy, essentially. So if you don't turn up for a job and you don't have a valid reason, like that's it. Like, that's our reputation. We are VanHeros. We're the network, and so if you mess up, it's us that suffer. So we're quite tight on how we check and who we let onto the platform, and we only want to make sure that drivers with the best conduct actually serve the community that we're looking to help.
Exactly. And are you doing anything in the sense where you're branding the vans as well, so they can help spread your message, or is it all just simple vans? No one would know it's a VanHero van.
So we started off and it's just very simple. No one would know it's us. But we're working on a couple of different things at the moment. One is a pack that new drivers get when they sign up, which would include a high vis with our branding on it for them. And that's for 2 things. That was actually something that some of the drivers said they liked and they wanted. So we initially started giving them T-shirts, and they love the T-shirts. They're like, fantastic, great. But actually, like, if they're out doing another job for their own company, for example, if they're Rob's Removals and they do a job, but they want to pick up a VanHeros job at the end of the day just to make some money up, they don't want to have to take their T-shirt off and put our T-shirt on. But if they have a high vis, it's practical from a safety point of view, but also it has all our branding. They can cover up all their stuff. So
yeah.
So that was a really cool piece of advice that they fed back to us, actually. So we're looking at those. We're just getting in the process of getting those printed up, and also just some window stickers as well, just to let people know that they're part of our network. We want the drivers to feel proud working for us. So there are other companies who do what we do essentially, but in a slightly different way. They have maybe a bidding platform, for example, and they get some really bad rep from the drivers, because the drivers are saying they don't care about us. All they care about is their profit, what they make, etc. You know, and I get it. You know, like if it's a bidding platform, for example, whoever bids the lowest gets the job, and a lot of the drivers get annoyed because it knocks down all their prices. Whereas we've always said that we didn't want to be a bidding platform. We always wanted to offer a fair price for both the driver and for the consumer, recognizing that consumers or businesses are willing to pay a little bit more for a professional service that is on demand. So we play on the fact that, you know, we've got the convenience factor there because we've got the network of drivers and we can get someone to you in as little as an hour. People don't mind spending a little bit more on that service.
Definitely. What's been your biggest surprise since launching and since getting vans on and customers through the app? What's been your biggest surprise?
Really good question, actually. So I think my biggest surprise point was actually where it dropped to me how valuable this service could be. So we had a fantastic situation where we had a customer who basically bought a sofa from the outlet village in Swindon, and we were able to get a van driver there in an hour and a half to pick up their sofa. And within 2.5 hours, it was back home. So, I mean, just imagine that yourself, like being able to walk into a shop, buy a big ticket item, and have it home in 2.5 hours.
Game changer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're trying to build, because, you know, when you can offer that sort of service, it actually gives the retailers so much advantage as well, because that's what people expect now. You know, we live in a world of, you know, Amazon, for example, where they get, you know, you can pay for something at 11 o'clock at night and it's there the next day. So as consumers, we're programmed to just kind of accept that world now. So when when we were kitting out the office and I bought a couple of desks from IKEA and it took 3 days and 60 pounds, I was like, well, that's crazy. Like, you know, if I'm paying £60 for delivery, I want it today. Like, what's going on? You know, and now we can offer the service that I wanted. So, you know, it puts the ball back in the hands of the retailers and allows them to compete with those internet businesses.
Exactly. Hence the growth on the B2B side of things.
Exactly. You know, so we look at it and we're like, we can just offer so much for these customers, you know. And if you had like a little furniture store, for example, and you might only do, I don't know, three sales a week, right? But that's enough to cover what you. Why would you want to carry the overhead of having a van with your brand, etc., on it? You know, it's a big cost, and on top of that, you either have to pay for an agency driver to come in and actually do the stuff for you, carry the cost of a full-time employee who can go out and do that, but then that takes away from their day job. You know, and also because you're only selling 2 or 3 items a week, it's quite inconvenient for the customer as well, because you have to, you know, as a customer, you don't have to wait until, you know, till whenever works for that you know, for that company to actually deliver it. So this kind of ticks 2 of those boxes in terms of it drops the costs for the retailers, for the businesses, but also allows them to offer a superior service in terms of speed and convenience.
For sure. So how are you going to grow this? You mentioned investment earlier. Where do you want to take VanHeros?
I see VanHeros as something that will go nationwide. We just need the investment to do that. So we have applications coming in more than we can handle for the drivers at the moment. Everybody seems to want to be a part of the platform, and we're not even marketing it yet, which is
that must feel great.
Sorry?
That must feel really good for you.
Oh, it's amazing. The fact that people want to just come and join the network, what we're doing. It's brilliant. You know, we're getting people saying, oh, when are you launching in Essex? And when are you going to launch in, you know, and it's like, you know, we can't keep up with the growth that people expect us to have at the moment. So, you know, for us, the plan is that we've to drop into a new city, we have to get the drivers ready there to be able to do the service. So we're doing driver recruitment. We basically have a 3-month kind of turnaround per city, which is that's all about recruitment up front and kind of getting the message out there that we're coming, working with media outlets and so forth, getting the PR out there, launching there, and then move on to the next place. So 2020 is it's going to be a big one for us because we've got Bristol planned in the next couple of months. With having Bristol, that will then naturally actually swallow up Bath for us as well, because we've got a 25-mile radius around Swindon and Bristol. So we'll then have Swindon, Bristol, Bath. So that will treble what we're doing already, if not more actually, because Swindon's not really known for a place to adopt technology. So,
so you mean Swindon's not the technology capital of the UK?
Not yet, but when they hear about us, it might be.
VanHeros is changing that.
We're changing the game. We're changing the game.
You mentioned investment. If you got investment tomorrow, for example, how would that impact on the business, and what would you do with it? Big question.
So, yeah, huge question. If we had investment tomorrow, it depends on the size of the investment as well, right? There's so many different options, and we could, if we had 30 grand investment, we'd probably all keep our day jobs, but we'd plug that money probably 70-30% split in favor of marketing and then development as well, speed up our development. But if we could get 250 or 300,000, we'd all probably quit the day jobs and work at this full time with the aim of doing another raise probably in 6 months' time once we've burned through cash, and really, really aggressively expand what we're doing. So and if we had 1 million, then it would be super aggressive marketing, development, and really getting our name out there, because people want to use us. They like us because we pay fair, we treat the drivers fair, and we offer a fantastic service. And that's where we differ from any competitors. And there's a few competitors out there, and I won't name names because it's not professional, but there's some people who do this, and they pay so low on their pricing that the drivers don't want to do the jobs for them. So the customers suffer because, apparently, they offer an on-demand service, but then nobody ever turns up for the job because the price is too low. So no driver takes it. Or alternatively, somebody takes it, but they do a really, really poor job because they just want to get the job done and move on to something that does pay them better.
So you're really focusing on building that network of van drivers that are really brought into the VanHeros ethos and values and all that, and the dream that you have as well as a business.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the things we did really early on, actually, just before we launched, was we did a Hero Hub event, which was essentially us inviting all the drivers that had signed up to that point to come down to us, down to the office, grab some pizza, listen to what we had to say, have a few beers. But it was the opportunity for us to say, look, this is what we're trying to build. This is why we're different, and we need your help to do that. But also an opportunity for those drivers to say, fantastic, we want to be a part of this, but don't go down this route, don't do that, this isn't working for us, and have you thought about this? And so it's fantastic because it made them feel like they were part of the family. And by doing that, it allows us to learn a lot from them and do right for the drivers, which ultimately means that they do right for the customers. Yeah,
exactly. They must be so used to having clients try and haggle them on prices, say, oh, it's a small wardrobe, but actually it's, 12 foot wide, all these sort of things. So you're giving them that confidence in the product so that they can help share your message, which is great. I think that's one of the reasons Uber did so well when they first started out. It was like, look, we're going to pay our taxi drivers really well. We're going to give an amazing service. All the dots are joined up in the right way. Sadly, things have cropped up for them that, haven't worked out so well, but that's not going to happen to VanHeros. No way.
Definitely.
Exactly. So other than the growth option, growth plans in, expand to Bristol, Bath, all that kind of stuff, what else have you got coming up for 2020? Are you doing any more of those sort of recruitment events? What have you got planned?
Yeah, we got huge plans. So, we've got some more recruitment stuff that we're going to be doing. We're going to spend a lot of time this summer kind of out and about various different places, just setting up, getting our name out there, putting leaflets out there, really kind of old school guerrilla tactics almost.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Something a bit different, something that gets us recognized. And yeah, I think it's really exciting. And for us, the next big thing for us as well is actually in terms of development. So we're moving away from the app. The app has been really interesting for us to launch as a product, but what we found quite quickly is it gives two big barriers to entry for people. One, you have to actually physically download the app, which not everybody's comfortable to do. And two, you then have to register to get into the app to actually book a job. So, our learnings from that was actually, we're missing out on some big bits of business here simply because we're cutting out a massive part of the market because they don't want to do that. So what we're moving to is a progressive web app. So a website that acts like an app essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's super intuitive and really nice and easy to use.
So if I'm in IKEA, I can just go on vanheros.com and do it all through that rather than having to download it, sign up, enter my card details, click on an email, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So it will make the journey so much easier and slicker for people. And the other cool thing that we're doing at the moment is we're actually building an API that will connect directly into the platforms of the retailers, so into their point of sale systems. That will be the game changer. That's something that nobody else is offering. And we are really, really confident that will be huge because, I mean, imagine as a consumer walking into, let's say, TK Maxx, right? So at the moment you can order online from TK Maxx, but if you go into a physical store and you want to buy one of their chairs, they don't offer delivery. What you would be able to do is actually order that chair, say yes please. You go to the till and they'll say, would you like delivery? You say yes, and they'll say fine, it's provided by VanHeros. They click a button and it spins up a quote straight through our API and says it's an extra £30, and you say yep, no worries, perfect. And they just pay the one invoice to TK Maxx, and we just invoice you back at the end of the month for what you've been using.
That's the game changer, like you said.
It's amazing. Like it means that it just breaks down all those barriers. Essentially, it means that we'll be a virtual fleet for companies. So they'll be able to use us as if we were their own fleet, but without carrying costs. So part of that API would come complete with an admin console, which allows them to adjust their margins on it as well. So speak directly to the drivers that are in their area only, via the app. So that we're keeping the app for the drivers, so they'll be able to connect into those. They'll see how many drivers are available at any given time. It's as you say, it's a game changer.
Is that a 2021 or 2021?
That's a 2020.
Nice.
So that's in development. So I reckon that will be live probably in the next 4 to 5 months.
You put it out there now.
Stake in the ground.
There you go.
I apologize to my dev guys who are probably just going, what are you doing?
I told you it would be 9 months.
I've put pressure on them now. This is actually one of the powerful pieces about having a founding team, because this wasn't my idea. This was the development guys came to us as a company, as a four, and said, we think this is the way the company should go. And we were like, amazing, fantastic. And so, that's the power of having a team. If you try and do it alone, I'd have been very siloed into, well, my original idea was an app, whereas these guys are like, the app, it works to a degree, but actually, what about a progressive web app? What about building an API? What about doing this? What about that? And so having those guys in the company is just invaluable.
Dude, that the API just sounds like that's going to be, like you said, a game changer. Have you already spoken to retailers about that? How are they receiving it?
Yeah, we started speaking to a few. They all think it's a really good idea. For us, I think once we can get 2 or 3 kind of onto the platform using it, it's proven then, and I think the floodgates will start to open on it. And the big one will be once we can get the funding to go nationwide and then get a big retailer onto it, then we'll be laughing. But the hard work starts now. Now's where we're prospecting. Even though we're months away from doing it, we're getting in with people, understanding what their point of sale systems look like, and just setting the tone with them that we've got this coming. Because at the moment we speak to retailers and we're trying to partner with these guys, and we've partnered with a few, but the stretch of that partnership at the moment is, well, here's a load of leaflets, and when someone wants a delivery, they just download the app and book it themselves.
Yeah.
And it works to a degree, but it's again, there's still just those barriers where they have to download the app, then register it.
Exactly. You want it so a customer walks into a shop and be like, "Do you not use VanHeros?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you mean you can't offer same-day deliveries? Why aren't you using VanHeros?
Or leave it with me, I'll sort it myself with VanHeros.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where we need to be.
If your logo on a van isn't like a superhero cape carrying a sofa or something like that, you're missing a trick.
Have you seen it? So, speaking of that, let me show you our little mascot then.
Oh, look, it's a little dog with a green. Is that green? Yeah, green. Yeah, love that. Love that.
That's our mascot, Louis. So he's based on my real dog. I've got a 20.5 kilo Staffy. So when we go out into the public, we can dress him up like this.
You should get miniature ones and include those in your packs. Nice,
I like it. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, like that. We can do that.
You can have that idea for free, Shane. Listen, it's been so fun talking to you. I'm really excited to hear about how VanHeros is going to grow over the next 12 months. Well, less than 12 months now, 11 months, man. This time is flying. My last question to every guest, and I'm sure you know about this, is what are 3 things that you can insight on another founder that's going to help them out in their journey, whatever level they're at?
So first one I think would have to just be find your dream and go with it.
Strong.
Find your dream and go with it. Don't let other people put you off. So I had it early on in my journey where I had a person tell me that this was a terrible idea and you'll never make any money out of it, etc. And that for me, that spurred me on. So that's number one. Find the dream and go with it. Second, don't be afraid to change the dream. Like I said, with my idea, we started off as an app. Be open to the idea that things evolve. Any good business that you look at evolves over time. Prime example, something that most people don't know. Peugeot started off doing salt and pepper grinders.
Yeah, you can still find them in restaurants today.
They've just started them back up as well.
Yeah.
So again, don't be afraid to adapt and change. Lamborghini started off making tractors. So again, find out what works and move into it. And the last one would be, don't be stuck on the percentages of a business. So what I mean by that is equity. For my company, I could have been selfish and say, you know what, I'll find a way to do this myself, and I'd have never got it done. I'd have had 100% of nothing. By finding the right people to partner with and bring in, I've now got a fantastic co-founding team who have really accelerated the business, both in terms of their skills and the vision of the company. But, it means that I've now got a percentage that's a lot lower than 100%, but I have that percentage of something that I believe is going to be worth millions.
Yeah, I completely agree with that point. I think a lot of people get to that stage where they're scared to give away stuff. They're scared to give away ideas. And you're like, look, you need to be collaborative. You need to be growing together, and the only way to do that is by sharing, is by helping others. And like you said, you've built this amazing team that's got you where you are today. And 100%, you're gonna get to that multi-million-pound figure for sure. I can definitely see that with VanHeros. Shane, thank you so much for coming on Founders 365. Everyone should connect with you. I know you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn. They need to get on VanHeros. Do you have like a newsletter to let you know when they're coming to your area?
Yeah, definitely. So if they go onto the website, which is www.vanheros, vanheroes.co.uk. There's a piece on there as well, which is to bring VanHeros to your area. So if there's enough interest in an area, then that'll move up the priority list of where we go to next. So please, everyone, connect with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we're doing. Download the app, even if it's not in your area, and again, just let me know. If there's anything that you think we can do better, we're more than open to any of your suggestions. And I look forward to speaking to everyone.
Thank you so much, Shane. Thanks everyone for watching, listening. Founders 365. I've been Steven Haggerty. See you next time.